Hello, everyone, and welcome. Now, we all know that for a democracy to work well, we need things like free and fair elections, and we need good institutions. But, there's something else, something absolutely vital. Today, we're going to quickly revise the chapter on democratic rights, because it is these rights that really give democracy its true meaning for all of us.
So let's just start with a really simple question, shall we? We have our elections, we have a government, but what is it that makes it all actually meaningful for you and me, for ordinary citizens? What is it that gives our lives dignity and our voices any real value in this whole system?
Well, the answer, quite simply, is our rights. You see, without guaranteed rights, things like voting are they're just procedures. Rights are the promise that a democracy makes to every single citizen, a promise to protect their freedom and to make sure they can live a life of dignity.
Okay, so to really get a feel for why rights matter so much, let's try a little thought experiment. We're going to start by looking at what happens when rights are just not there.
You see, when you don't have guaranteed rights, it leaves people completely exposed. The government, or maybe some other powerful group, can treat people unfairly. There's no real protection against injustice, no shield you can hold up against discrimination. It just leaves people feeling deeply, deeply insecure.
And believe me, this isn't just something from a textbook. This is a real quote. It's from a letter written by a 9-year-old boy. His father was a prisoner at a place called Guantanamo Bay, and he was held there for years without any trial. This one, simple, heartbreaking letter shows us the real, personal pain that a life without rights can cause.
All right, so if a life without rights is that terrible, what's the answer? What exactly are these rights we keep talking about? Let's move on and get a clear definition.
Now, this is the definition from your textbook, and it's really important we understand it properly. Let's break it down. First, a right is a reasonable claim. That means it has to be fair and it can't be something that harms other people. Second, it has to be recognized by society, meaning that people around us agree it's a just claim. And third, and this is the most important part, it has to be sanctioned by law. This means the law backs it up and you can actually go to a court to protect it.
So why does a democracy, specifically, need these rights so badly? Well, there are a few huge reasons. First, they act like a shield, protecting minorities so the majority can't just do whatever it wants. Second, they are the tools we need to take part in democracy. The right to speak our mind, to gather, to form political parties. And finally, rights draw a clear line in the sand that the government cannot cross. They stop the government from becoming too powerful.
Okay, let's bring this home to India. Our constitution gives a special status to certain rights. We call them the fundamental rights. Think of them as the foundation, the absolute bedrock of our democracy.
So here are the 6 fundamental rights we're going to look at. The right to equality, the right to freedom, the right against exploitation, the right to freedom of religion, cultural and educational rights, and finally, the right to constitutional remedies. Let's quickly go through what each one means.
First up, the right to equality. This is the big one, the foundation of it all. It means that no one is above the law. It doesn't matter if you're the prime minister of the country or a small farmer in a village. The same laws apply to everyone. It's a simple but incredibly powerful idea that, in the eyes of the law, we are all equal.
Next is the right to freedom. Now, this isn't just one right. It's like a bundle of different freedoms that are essential for a good life. It includes the freedom to say what you think, the freedom to gather with others peacefully, the freedom to form groups and unions, and the freedom to travel and live anywhere you want within our country.
Our third fundamental right is all about protecting our basic human dignity. The right against exploitation makes horrible things like human trafficking, forced labor, what we call begar, where someone is forced to work without pay, and of course child labor, completely illegal.
Fourth, we have the right to freedom of religion. This is straightforward. Every single citizen has the freedom to practice, to believe in, and to share the religion of their choice. And remember, India is a secular state. This means the government doesn't have an official religion. It has to treat every single religion with equal respect.
Our fifth right is so important for a country like ours, which is full of different cultures and languages. The cultural and educational rights protect our minorities. They ensure that these communities can protect their own unique language and culture, and they even have the right to set up their own schools and colleges to do so.
So we have all these amazing rights on paper. But what happens if someone actually tries to take them away from you? What can you do? This brings us to our 6th, and you could say the most important right of all, the one that makes every other right real.
The main architect of our Constitution, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, used some very powerful words to describe this right. He called it the heart and soul of our Constitution. Think about that for a moment. The heart and soul. That tells you just how incredibly important this is.
And here's why. The right to constitutional remedies is the right that allows you and me to go directly to a court, like a high court or even the Supreme Court, if any of our other fundamental rights are violated. Without this right, the other 5 are like promises with no guarantee. This right is the key that unlocks all the others. It makes them enforceable.
All right, for our last section, let's zoom out a bit. It's really important to understand that rights are not something static. They don't just stay the same forever. They evolve, and as they do, so does our role as citizens.
You see, as our society changes and we face new challenges, our idea of what counts as a basic right also grows. New rights get recognized over time, often because of people's struggles and new decisions by our courts.
Let's look at a couple of fantastic examples. The right to information, which gives us the power to ask the government for information, and the right to education, which now makes schooling a fundamental right for all children. These weren't originally in the list, but they have been added, making our democracy that much stronger.
And this leads us to our final and very important point. Yes, it is the government's job to protect our rights, but it's not just the government's job. It's our job too. We as citizens have a responsibility to know our rights, and just as important, to respect the rights of everyone else.
So I want to leave you with this thought. Knowing about your democratic rights is the first crucial step, but just knowing isn't enough. The real challenge, and our real duty as good citizens, is to think, how can I, in my own daily life, respect the rights of the people around me? That is how we truly make our democracy strong.